In a hair-raising incident that was captured on camera, a white tiger killed a youth inside the Delhi Zoo after he fell into the animal's moat yesterday. Now a fresh video of the final moments before the tiger mauled the visitor to death has appeared, raising crucial questions about whether the animal can fully be blamed for the incident. We'd like to warn you that some of these visuals that you will be seeing are quite disturbing. Now let's once again take you through the last 2 minutes of this 21-year-old boy's life. The youth fell into the enclosure of the white tiger Vijay. That's when the tiger approached him from the 1,000 square kilometer enclosure. It's then that the man who we believed was mentally disturbed stared at death for a full 2 minutes. With every step that the tiger took closer to this man, the man kept pleading with the animal. By then the spectators already began panicking. The tiger then looked up at the mayhem. He looked threatened and then hit the man with his paw. The onlookers then began clapping, shouting in a bit to scare the tiger away, to turn his attention away. But that turned out to be the very reason, it seems, for this brutal attack. While the victim desperately cried for help, the tiger hissed at the youth again with his paw over there and then went for the jugular. He sinks his teeth into the victim's neck and drags him away into his enclosure. Now let's tell you how it all happened last afternoon at the Delhi Zoo. Visitors are allowed only till the standoff barrier at the zoo, which is approximately 3 foot tall. The youth, Maqsood, jumped the barrier and climbed the moat wall. He then fell from the moat wall into the 15-foot deep ditch. That's when the tiger emerged from the 1,000 square meter enclosure over there. All right, in fact, joining me from the newsroom is my colleague Jugal. He's been tracking that development for us ever since we broke that news yesterday. In the studio with me is Upasana Bakshi, someone who is very closely aware and knows how the Delhi Zoo really works. She's been covering it for quite some time now. Jugal, first coming to you, with this latest video that we are now showcasing, really showing those chilling last 2 minutes that this man had before, he finally was taken away by that white tiger, Vijay. Any word from the zoo authorities as to what really happened, and what, according to you, is your understanding of what really happened? Was it the crowd that really led to the tiger attacking this youth?
Well, Sana, there's little doubt about that. In fact, yesterday when we put the story out, I was at the zoo. We spoke to eyewitness accounts. We spoke to zoo officials also. And we had, in fact, brought this up that the tiger initially did not attack, did not charge at this visitor who had jumped into the enclosure. It was, in fact, after a window of around 8 to 10 minutes, again, according to eyewitness accounts, that the tiger actually snapped at this visitor and then mauled him and then took him away to the corner where he left his body at. Now what is extremely interesting is that the crowd behavior went on for about 4 to 5 minutes, which is the duration of this video. And the zoo authorities, let's look at the response of the zoo authorities. On one hand, the police is still saying that we are investigating the matter, but in the press note, the zoo authorities have squarely laid the blame on this victim. They're saying that he's the one who jumped. Whether or not the zoo authority is competent to actually comment when the police investigation is going on to establish the fact, one doesn't know. Second aspect is that the zoo authority is saying that its zoo, its enclosures are standard. It has nothing actually to do, no blame at all. The fact is that the zoo authorities were not present at the site. They could not ensure that the crowd behaved. They could not ensure that the caretaker could be, at the enclosure at the earliest. There is a lot that could have been done. The window was around 8 to 10 minutes according to the eyewitness, and yet nothing happened. How sensitive is it for the zoo authorities then to say that, well, we have no lessons to learn from this, we believe the boy jumped and he died, that's all.
Absolutely, Jugal, do stay with us. You know, that's very important, Upasana, if I can come to you. There's several lacks that we do see over here. Give us your understanding of, you know, what could have the zoo authorities really done. They had a huge window of 8 to 10 minutes.
Yes, and I think 8 to 10 minutes is a decent time for any authority to react and control the situation. See, since it's been years that I've been visiting Delhi Zoo, as far as the security is concerned, we have a few guards who are deployed at the entry point and a few guards who are deployed at the exit point. In front of every cage, we have a few caretakers, 1 to 2 caretakers, who the time around which the incident happened were busy feeding the animals, because 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. is the lunch time for the animals. Now we have 4 to 5 white tigers in the Delhi Zoo. So what the caretakers were busy feeding the other white tigers, while Vijay was waiting outside his cage for his turn to go and have lunch. Now this boy falls into the moat. 8 to 10 minutes, huge time for the authorities to react. One question that we've been continuously raising, but the Delhi Zoo is not giving us an accurate answer for the same, is that why do we have normal caretakers for wildlife animals? If we are dealing with wildlife animals, we think personally they should be specialists, they should be experts who know how to deal with the animals when such a situation happens. Let's take a hypothetical situation. What if somehow the tiger manages to escape from the cage? While the caretakers are feeding the animals, they somehow manage to escape from the cage. The caretakers do not know how to deal with them. There are no weapons available with the caretakers to handle the animals. So there are certain questions. We haven't got a very accurate answer for the same, but again, agreed what the statement was released by the Delhi Zoo yesterday, that it was the fault of the victim who had jumped into the moat. We have put on signs of warnings everywhere, but the responsibility of the zoo doesn't end here. There are a lot of more things that
in fact, let's also play out this report. Jugal Purohit sent us this from the Delhi Zoo. Let's take a look.
Every visitor who's supposed to come to the zoo to observe the animals is supposed to be on this particular path and nowhere further. However, this individual, who we are given to understand is a resident of Delhi, not only managed to cross this first barrier here, he went inside, and from there on he crossed the second barrier, the cement barrier which we are now approaching, and from this barrier he fell inside. It's a fall of easily over 10 to 15 feet, and the zoo authorities who we spoke to are as baffled as anybody else is as to just how can an individual make a mistake twice over. You're seeing the spots that my camera person Shakil Ahmed is now showing you. This is precisely the spot where he fell. The signs of struggle are very much there, very much evident for all to see. It was after that point that the tiger actually arrived, the white tiger in fact arrived, and then dragged him to that particular location where, as you're seeing now on your screens, this is actually the enclosure.
All right, in fact, that video is quite unbelievable over there, sends chills right up your spine. Mr. Naveen Raheja, he's a tiger expert joining us over the telephone line. Thanks so much, Mr. Raheja, for speaking to us. We can very clearly see, how the tiger first keeps looking at this individual before he attacks and looks, there's no aggression in the body language initially. It's only when the shouting and the public starts to get restless that he makes his first move. Isn't it so?
Yes, it is only because of the public commotion and reaction and the unusual behavior which is displayed, and that is one reason, definitely that's one reason. But I would say this incident is something which is unexpected, unwarranted, and you cannot expect people to be ready, combat ready for this kind of situation,
Okay.
Because I will squarely say the boy was unfortunate.
By people you mean the victim or the authorities, sir?
The boy was unfortunate, and if the authorities, I don't know what is the protocol, whether if there was incidentally an attendant close by, and particularly the one who is tending to this particular tiger, if it was, I don't know, because that depends upon what was the duty role at that time or not. But if it was there, I think it could be called and segregated into the employer. That was the only thing which could have happened. Nothing else could have been done.
Okay. I also have with me Dipankar Ghosh. He's a wildlife expert joining me. Thanks, sir, so much for speaking to Headlines today. I'm sure you must have seen this video that captures the last 2 minutes of this boy really before he was taken away by this white tiger. What do you make of it?
Well, it's really an unfortunate incident, and perhaps the people present there, or at least the guards, could have restrained the person from getting into the moat. I mean, we still don't know what actually happened, whether he fell in the moat or whether he slipped or something. But when he was crossing the barrier at that point of time, he could have been stopped, and probably needs more surveillance.
Right. Apparently, the guards were busy feeding the other tigers over there. So this is when the boy found himself completely helpless. Apparently, he fell into this, space that was meant to be for the tiger. But sir, don't you think the authorities have completely washed their hands off this incident? They say it was an area which was not meant to be for the visitors. Of course, this was an accident. But what if some emergency measures, like a tranquilizer perhaps, could have helped on the spot?
Look, the thing is, it's very easy for anyone to say that a tranquilizing gun would have saved. But, you can't keep a tranquilizing gun ready, and then it's not just the gun, it's also about the drugs, it's also about the nature of the animal. So that itself would have taken 10 minutes. I mean, we have seen tiger captures in the wild, but it takes a long time of planning. Now the issue is, I don't know, whatever I have read of the interviews from senior government officials,
Right.
I didn't feel that they tried to wash off their hands. But this is, as you rightly mentioned, this is an accident, and if a person was determined to go closer to the tiger, then how much can one do to deter that person? He could have been restrained. It was not possible, because we also have to understand that the guards also work under tremendous pressure with so many people going in.
Absolutely. Jugal Purohit, my colleague, standing by. He's been tracking this development very closely and the reactions that have been coming in. Jugal, one thing is for sure, that of course this man didn't enter these premises. It was a mistake, and the tiger didn't mean to attack it, because it seems very, docile and timid initially. Only later on he goes on to attack this person. But one thing is for sure, a lesson is there to be learned from this, both for the authorities and also for the visitors who go to the zoo every day, hundreds of them.
Well, it does seem, at least for now, that the zoo authorities do not believe that there is any lesson in this episode for them to learn, because they've made it absolutely clear that their enclosures are according to the standards prescribed, and that's all, and there's nothing further to that. There are 2 points, Sana, which actually stick out. One, is that the parents of this unfortunate boy who passed away yesterday after being mauled said to us last evening while they were at the hospital awaiting the postmortem report that the boy was mentally unstable. He was undergoing some form of treatment for mental disorder, and that his behavior was not stable. That explains a lot as to just why could an individual cross the standoff barrier, then jump the second barrier, land up almost 20 feet below into a tiger's enclosure. And the second point is that there is a definite need for either the zoo authorities, and if they believe that they do not, then maybe a higher authority to actually oversee and review the kind of emergency response systems, because here we've seen that the caretakers were feeding the other animals, the guards were absolutely not there, it seems like, because the public got its way, they made their noises, they threw stuff in, which aggravated the situation. So why is it that the zoo authorities feel that there is no lesson for them to learn in it?
Absolutely, a lesson for sure for not just the zoo authorities, also for the visitors. This is a very serious incident that should be an eye-opener for one and all. Thanks so much, Jugal Purohit, also Mr. Naveen Raheja and Deepankar Ghosh, Upasana Bakshi for joining us